Hello, I want to thank you again for joining How to Play the Game of College podcast. I'm very excited about today. As you know, for the past few weeks, you've been hearing from adults, as I like to say, the college experts. But today, I'm switching it up. I want you to hear from students themselves who are going through the college process. They may be in their first year, second year, or some even about to graduate. And so today, my first student, I'm so excited to have this guy on here today, Michai. Michai is like a mentee to me, a little brother from Memphis, Tennessee, and now the SGA president, right, at Middle Tennessee State University. Let me pause right there and just say, Middle Tennessee State University, my alum, is the best, right, Michai?
Yeah,
The best college in the state of Tennessee. Now, scrap that. The best college in the world, right?
I agree.
Go Raiders, go Raiders. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to Michai Mosby. I'm going to turn it over to him. And just, if Michai, if you can, tell us a little bit about your background and what got you to go to college. In this world we live in, where students have so many options, what got you into saying, hey, I want to pursue a college degree? Welcome.
So first of all, thank you again for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity. Just a little bit about myself. Grew up in Memphis, Tennessee. All I know is Memphis. Class president of the high school, involved in numerous of organizations. Even as I wrapped up my high school career, and we launched this campaign in high school entitled "Create Options." So this is where our student body really just applied to so many colleges, so we could have
Mhm.
those options. And I'm a wide thinker, so I didn't just want to narrow it down to one specific college. I wanted to be able to decide where I wanted to go. And if you really want me to be transparent, I was not going to
Yeah.
MTSU. I was headed to a out of state college,
Okay.
but that out of state college was not ready to provide out of state resources and funds. So that's why I had to reroute myself to MTSU. And it's not out of anything negative for the university, but I'm glad that I ended up at MTSU because had I
Okay.
not create options, if I would have put all my eggs in one basket,
Mhm.
I would not be where I am today. And so I really appreciate, having great parents and a great support system to say, we support you wherever you go, but we want you to go away.
Yeah.
We want you to have that real world experience to where you're not coddled by home and family. We want you to grow up, experience the world for yourselves. And so that's where I am now, in my junior year at MTSU. And
Wow.
it was the campus visit really inspired me to enroll at MTSU. It was the close family, it was the community, it was the
Okay.
small city feel. It's important to do college tours
Yeah.
because it's one thing to read about a college and an institution online. It's one thing to hear what alumni say, but it's a different feeling to really go and feel it for yourselves. And when I hit the campus, I knew that's where I was supposed to be.
Man, that's awesome. And you said so much in that first introduction in my book, How to Play the Game of College. I feel like you read it, Makai. We're gonna
Yeah.
shake our head and say we did. But those are things that we covered in that I covered in the book. And as you mentioned, I love how you talked about having a high school support and your high school. Shout out your high school. What high school did you attend in Memphis?
On high school,
Oh, okay.
Southwind.
Good. Southwind. Okay. It's not Overton, but we'll put it number
Shout
two,
out
number
to
three.
Southwind High School, the Jaguars.
But I love how Southwind encouraged you all to apply to different colleges. And I like how you also mentioned that, hey, Middle Tennessee State was not my first choice. I was wanting to go out of state, but looking at the finances involved in it as well. And so I guess my next question to you is we could rewind it back to your freshman year or even now. When we talk about college students, college could be a very different world for many students, especially first generation college students. I love how you say you had the support of your family, the community. Some students don't have that. So they're walking in this new journey alone. What have been some of the struggles, maybe personally, that you had coming into college? Or we can say some of your friends that you kind of know about that they struggle with.
It will be adapting. That's
Okay.
one struggle that I think a large percentage of college students experience is the adapting, is the growing up because college has a way of growing you up extremely fast. My parents really gave me and my sisters, those valuable lessons early of how to be independent, how to be on your own, how to be self-sustaining. But when you get to college, it's a whole nother different story. You have to worry about finances and budgets and getting involved and making the most out of your college experience. I think that adaptability is definitely a difficulty that we experience. But I think sometimes students have a lack of support. So sometimes I meet a
Mm,
lot of college students who are first generation college students. They are
okay.
in this newness. And so there's a level of support that their family cannot offer them because they didn't
Mhm,
attend college themselves.
mhm,
And
mhm.
so I'm always interested to see the different perspectives from students who have that support of having a college background, higher education background from their family members, but also those who say my family supports me, but they don't know how to support me because they've not been through this
Mhm.
experience. And so I think that even with the book, it's something that everybody can really take heed to because whether you've been
Right.
in college or not, now you know how to support college students as they matriculate
Mm.
to college.
So true. And I'm so glad you mentioned that. Again, everybody that don't have that community around them, and that community is so important just in life, even outside of college. And like I said, in the book, I give students resources, but I want to hear from you. What have been some of the key resources on a college campus that have helped you to navigate that journey a little bit better?
It's different because, of course, MTSU is a PWI. There are certain resources that are targeted to minority students.
Okay.
Those are literally the most effective programs and initiatives because not only do you equip college students, but you are there to support them as they matriculate through college. So it's not that, oh, we're going to support you your freshman year. It's check-ins throughout your college years, advisors and initiatives and programming that aid you in your time of college. So I think minority specific programming helps.
Okay.
Whether that's on a PWI campus, but even with HBCUs, there's a level of
Hmm.
support that you can offer students, even though majority of your student body is minority, but there's still a support that you can provide to those students who don't know yet how to get involved and who still need that extra assistance through college. So I think that those are one of the resources that really help, but also like tutoring. Tutoring is such a could have such a negative connotation. It
Hmm.
has such a
Hmm.
negative feel and reaction when you say the word tutoring. But when you really think about tutoring, not only is it aiding you in your academics, but now you have a mentor. So that now that somebody can
Hmm.
walk with you when you're having these mental college struggles, these emotional college struggles, those type of resources are more effective than the library and more effective than
Right.
all of these other writing centers and stuff, which is actually
Hmm.
cool. But
Hmm.
having someone to not only understand me, but reach me at the same time.
That's awesome. And with the tutoring, the resource that you just mentioned, is it a free resource on campus?
Resources for all students. We have writing centers,
Man.
student tutors. So even if you feel uncomfortable with a teacher, you have that
Okay.
peer interaction that aids in those efforts as well.
Okay. It's so good to know. And I guess the main thing, a lot of colleges have resources, like as you just mentioned, with tutoring and writing center. But how can a student who might be new, especially an incoming freshman student, right? First year freshman student, they're intimidated. Like you said, they have to adapt to this whole new environment, being away from home. They might feel intimidated to ask for help. Do you have any strategies that a student can just say, hey, I need help? It sounds simple, right? But a lot of students don't ask for it. Any strategies for that particular student?
I think that what helps, because sometimes I'm even guilty of that, is I like to do email
Okay.
transactions first to where even if a simple question, you don't know what I look like, I don't know what you look like, that takes away that aspect of it. And as the relationship grows, then there's a comfortability that grows as well.
Okay.
That like MTSU has, and then the Scholars Academy program is the early arrival program for minority students that allow them to come to campus 2 weeks early, get acclimated, build those relationships with professors, administrators, advisors, before the rest of the 20,000 students get to campus. So you build that tight
Oh,
knit
good.
community to where when you need help, you don't have to go so far out because you've already built that network and that communication with those desired individuals. But for students who still struggle, I like online interactions. I like how MTSU has an online tutoring
Okay.
that you can that'll assist you. But I think there also comes to a time where you have to acknowledge that people are here to help you.
Right.
And you have to
Right.
use those resources. And a lot of our colleges and universities adapt a confidentiality to it too.
Okay.
It sounds scary, but then now I'm certain that what I share with you, it won't leave the four walls of the room that we're in. So I
Right.
think that the first step you have to do is say, okay, I need the help, acknowledging that you
Right.
need help. Number two,
Hmm.
finding who can best support you helps as well. But always do your online research is what my tip would be.
So true. And like you said, I said it sounds simple, but it really is, right? And I like how you said people are there to help. They want to help, right?
Absolutely.
But a lot of times we're not mind readers. So a lot of times we have advisors, have a caseload of hundreds of students and meetings during the day. So if you just say, hey, I'm going to leave the college or I'm just going to suffer alone, a lot of times people don't know that you need the help. So I like how you say, hey, just simply ask for help. And it may be just the recruiter that recruited you to the college or an advisor or a financial aid person who you develop a relationship with is so key. And maybe use that person as your point of reference and they can kind of connect you to other people.
You never know where your help is going to come from.
So true. So true. The next two questions are kind of, I feel like, are huge questions that I get from students when I'm out and about. Finances, right? And I know you mentioned that earlier. Can you go in more detail? The students now, especially talking to seniors, class of 24, right? And they're going through the process of going to college applications. Any tips on scholarships or ways that kind of help a student to navigate the finances around college?
Apply for every scholarship. There's
Okay.
there's not I can't tell you there's maybe a couple that I ran across that I know I didn't meet the qualifications for, but
Okay.
I really went and did. I forgot the title of it because it's been years now. Like the Common App, I think that's one where you
Okay.
submit one application and it submits it to all these hundreds of scholarships. But also there are scholarships right within our communities. Like we think
Hmm.
the word scholarship, we think, oh, we got to do some long drawn out application process. A lot of my scholarships came from the church up the street, the
Wow.
community leaders, the community organizations, two of
Okay.
them from a talent show. So even your gifts and your aspirations and your
Mm-hmm.
creativity, that creates room for scholarships as well. But also, I would say look at the universities that you want to be a part of. I know in-state
Hmm.
tuition, there are things called fee waivers where if you meet certain qualifications, you get a fee waiver. And so I didn't think about it, but with my mom being an educator, there's an
Okay.
educator's fee waiver
Yeah.
for
Okay.
dependents of educators. And I didn't know that. But so you have
Mm.
to go out and you have to see what resources that you have that will support you because college is not cheap, but there
Mm.
are
Mm.
enough resources out there to aid you in your efforts. There are enough
Right.
people out there. Once you realize that you need the help,
Mm-hmm.
that person will be able to walk with you through that process. So whether it be a counselor, a parent, a friend, it takes time. That's what
Mm-hmm.
I will say it taught me was patience.
Mm.
But the financial piece of college has been the least of my worries
Oh,
because
wow.
of your involvement. And then when you get to school, and I'll be transparent to say this, when you get to school, there are still more resources that age you.
Right.
In
So
act
true.
involved, like SGA president, that is 100% tuition discount. So
Wow.
school even aids you in those efforts. So that's why it's important to get involved because you
Mm-hmm.
don't know what opportunities are out there. And even outside of that, we have all other opportunities on campus to where
Mm-hmm.
even if you're a student worker, they'll cover some of your book scholarship. They'll pay you. They'll do certain things to
Man.
get your studies and they'll create your work schedule around your school schedule. So it's a lot of ways it gives you assistance with the financial piece of college.
Man, you just dropped some major jewels there for students who might be worried. And I've hear a common theme of like just asking for help, right?
Right.
Asking for help. Hey, there's so many different resources from, if you're in state, you have state programs like Tennessee Promise, just applying or submitting the FAFSA, right? Pell Grants. And I love how you said the involvement piece, which is my next question, right? So, Michai, I know again, you're super involved on campus. Again, SGA president probably is one of the top things that you can do on a college campus, but I know you're in a fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha. Can you talk about how being involved? Because a lot of times we have students that go to class, but they just go right back home or they're just going right back out to work. What has being involved on the college campus done for you?
That has changed being involved on college campuses. It
Hmm.
changed the trajectory of my
Okay.
experience. Because freshman year, I'm an outgoing person, but
Hmm.
I think everybody has to warm up. You don't just pop up and be at the top. You have to do the work to work your way up. And so,
Hmm.
my first ever organization I joined on campus was Collegiate 100 Black Men at MTSU because even in the title, I said, okay, it's black men, so I'm amongst my people.
Hmm.
Again,
Hmm.
I know it's a brotherhood that they're trying to build. Let me join this
Right.
organization. From there, I joined. SGA, and I was a part of the
Okay.
freshman council, became the freshman council president. And that's when I realized that college is so much more than academics. It's like a good 75% academics, but another 25 of that percent goes to
Mm-hmm.
campus involvement, campus life, Greek
Mm.
life, community service, all of those
Okay.
things that you're going to need in the real world is
Right.
out of the classroom. So
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
biggest classroom in college is involvement, is how to submit forms and paperwork and constitutions and all these type of things, and you have to make the most out of your college experience. If you
Mm-hmm.
come to college and you think the experience is already there, we're mistaken. Like a lot of us
Mm.
see videos, social media has done a great job of what the potential of a campus experience is. But what it
Right.
doesn't show is the work that goes into it, the
Mm-hmm.
initiative that the students have to take to make the
Mm-hmm.
most of that experience. Because we can
Right.
plan events all day long, but you have to decide to show up. You have to
Mm-hmm.
decide to sign up. You have to decide to show interest. Even in Greek life, I am a member of a comeback line. So there were no alphas a couple of years ago. And so it
Okay.
had to do extra work to not only rebuild a reputation of alphas, but the actual work. We have to do it to a certain extent that allows students to feel welcome, students to want to be a part. And
Mm-hmm.
so I would just say when you get to college, don't let the work of others be in vain. You have to take some
Man.
initiative and make the most out of your college experience, especially when you're a commuter student. Like when you're not on campus, you have to
Mm-hmm.
extra to make sure that you're coming to campus to be engaged because you're paying great money to an institution. And a lot of these universities, you're paying fees to these campus initiatives and events that you're not even being a part of. So it would be
So
make
true.
out of your college experience.
Yes, yes. And what I'm hearing a lot of, Michai, is you're developing those soft skills, as we like to call them, just knowing how to deal with other people that might not look like you, right? Or I know in your roles, putting together events, right? You're dealing with budget, project management. And these are things that you can take over when you get that career, right? That you'd be like, hey, I've done some of this at MTSU. I can definitely transfer these particular skills into my career and some of my future dealings that I'm doing. So,
But also getting involved will even give you a new perspective. When I came
right.
to college, I said, Mikai's going to be the president of the United States. I'm going to be the mayor of Memphis. I'm
Yeah.
I'm going to do this politics thing. But as I got involved, my major changed
Okay.
because my interest changed.
Man,
My
I like how you
passion
said that.
changed.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So as you get involved, don't be afraid of change because
Mm,
you're introduced to new opportunities. That's a new
man.
perspective. That's a new look on life. And so now I'm a public relations major
Okay.
with a minor is still that political science, but you find because getting involved in SGA and all these other clubs and organizations has sparked my interest in higher education for
Mm,
student affairs and I've
okay.
gone in that. And the thing is, it doesn't feel like work.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
that's what your passion is when it no longer feels like it's work. When
man.
you're not when you think of it and you go, oh my God, I gotta do this, or oh,
Yeah.
I anything I've done extracurricular, I've not had to sigh or felt any stress, felt any
Mm-hmm.
anxiety. That's when you know what your passion is. But I would
Man.
have known that if I did not take the first step to get involved to make the most out of my experience.
Man, we could just interview right here, Makai. You're dropping some great information. I hope students and parents are listening. I like how you said just, hey, getting involved. You had this one path, but getting involved, hey, it opened you up to different things and you were able to see different things, which I feel like, to be honest, that's where college is all about. It's not just, hey, of course, the main goal is to get there and go into a career, right? That's the purpose of college, but there's so many other things that happen outside the classroom. I'm so glad that you're highlighting those things. I guess my next question, I got two more for you, Makai. I mean, you again dropping some great information. Major, I heard you talk about that. Again, that's probably the number one question we get from students, especially incoming students. How did you decide? I know you talked about you had one major in mind, but it ended up changing. What advice would you give to students that are looking? Because sometimes we feel like students just have to know when they get there, like, what do you want to major in? I know I changed two times, and I'm glad you just mentioned you changed. What advice would you give for students that thinking about a major?
I would say it's okay to not know now
Okay.
because I know, and it's sad to say, I know juniors and seniors who are still undecided, don't know how that works, but it's okay to not know.
Okay.
Also, Don't just sit in your unknown. You have to go out to figure out what sparks your interest.
Okay.
Things work for me like personality tests and skills tests to see what I'm good at, and then look at whatever college or university there are a list of majors. So you have to
Okay.
go in there and actually read the descriptions of those majors to see. And I think like a lot of our colleges and universities, they'll provide job fields within those careers and within those
Okay.
majors. And so you have to do your research. That's what I would say. For those who
Okay.
are still trying to figure out what you want to do, you know what you're good at. So figure out how to make what you're good at effective and useful. Find the career path that will make sure that your gifts are being used. And so I will say that there's nobody that graduates college and just automatically starts at their dream.
Right.
You have to
Mm.
do the work and put the time in. But you know better than anybody what you are good at. So take what
Hmm.
you're good at, add it to what the world needs. And what
Right.
how do you know what the world needs? You look through those majors, you look through those career fields, because colleges and universities are not offering you something that you cannot use in the day-to-day world once you graduate.
Mm.
So I would say take what you're good at, add it
Okay.
to what the world needs, and it tells you it's your clear path on how to move forward through college.
And I'm so glad again you're highlighting all the resources, right? So again, a student might not know, but you have career offices on campus or departments. You have folks that you can go talk to, interns, right? Interns are huge. I always tell students, don't leave or college before you actually say, hey, let me intern and really see what their career is like.
An internship will
Yeah.
save your life because I have a friend
Mm.
who
Yeah.
she thought she was going into accounting. She just knew she was going into accounting. She did one internship and said, "This is not for me." So you
Right.
think you have life planned out, and
Hmm.
as soon as you get a taste of what it will be like, it'll change the trajectory of your whole future. So you got to use internships. Internships help you tremendously.
Man,
Besides
that's
the work
great.
they do for me.
Yes, I understand. Man, I understand. So again, I guess we'll close out the interview today. Again, thank you for your time. But just if you have one piece of advice, of course, this podcast is going out to students, primarily again, seniors, parents that might be helping their students to go through the process. Again, you share some great information. But if you have one piece of advice that you can give a senior, what would that be?
Continue to be yourself.
Mm,
You don't need the world needs you.
wow.
So do
Yeah.
not walk into new spaces and change because of the environment. You can conform to the environment, but
Hmm.
ever change yourself, your morals, your standards, your values to fit in, to accept the status quo. You possess a level of value, an amount of value that provides access.
Mm,
People will see what you are worth, what you are capable of, and they'll come to you before you have to go to them. And so I
man.
would say continue to be yourself. That's what has worked for me so far. Is
Hmm.
being
Hmm.
yourself, never change for anybody. Continue to be authentic, to continue to be put your best foot forward in everything that you do, and you will see the desired outcome.
Man, thank you so much. Again, I want to just say to you, Michai, I've had the honor, I should say, of watching you come transition from high school to college. I remember even coming to a step show and seeing you your freshman year, and just to see you now and who you have become. And this is only the beginning. So again, I just thank you for dropping the knowledge. You're going to help so many students on this podcast. So again, thank you, man. I
Thank
appreciate
you for
you.
having me.
Yes, yes. And to the students and the parents, make sure that you share this video. Comment. Makai's gonna be watching the comment session. And he might reply back, right, Makai?
Absolutely.
And also, again, this is the start of a new series with students. And so, if this is any indication of the interview today, man, it's going to be only up from here. So, again, I want to thank you for joining the podcast, and we will see you same time, same place. Thank you.